What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Team Solemn Circus live video. On the left side, we have Mermail Atlantean going up against Spright on the right side. This is going to be us playing. Before we dive on into it, for like, comment, subscribe, a lot. We're on the road to 10K and you guys' support. We're going to be seeing a die roll here, with us rolling an 11, and they end up rolling a 7. We're going to be choosing to go first, obviously. So Spright is a rogue deck this format going up against Atlantean Mermail. I believe this is going to be considered another rogue deck. We do start off with a starter, being able to summon out from the deck. We do take the 11 off of the blue, bringing us down to 69, activating the effect, which can let us search for either a jet, if we don't already have one, or another copy of anything else. So in this case, we do search for a red here. I don't know if this is necessarily the correct line because we know they are on impulse. So maybe we should have searched for a copy of the carrot so that we can negate the impulse if we do have it. But we already have the carrot in the hand, so that allows us to summon out all the Spright monsters here other than the pixies. And we get to activate the effect of the jet, search out for the trap, so we can actually start attaching. So we have a really good board here. We are going to go up into a Spring going to be able to then dump, leaving the 2 negates on the field, obviously. And then activating the effect, sending the copy of the Angler. Angler's going to summon out 2 beavers, and we're going to start our combo going. And we have not had a normal summon yet, so we can actually bounce back the beaver, one of them, if we wanted to, with the swap frog if we end up eventually summoning one. We do go up into a gigantic. Now, unfortunately, the gigantic has to be up in the extra monster zone if we want to be able to bounce back that beaver and have a correct line. But it does not look like we do that way. We summon with the swap frog. Swap frog is then going to be able to dump the mirror mage. Mirror mage will then be able to search. And then we can activate the effect, allowing us to add back. And our zoning is not looking too hot either here. You want to have the toad in one of the far zones or in the middle column. So we're going to be seeing the swap frog bounce back the beaver. And then we do just kind of realize here that we are kind of in a bad zone spot altogether. We do put the toad in the under the EMZ, and we have to free up that gigantic here. So if we had the beaver, if we had the gigantic in the extra monster zone, we could normal summon the beaver, activate the effect, bring back out, and then we could link the gigantic as well as the beaver away for either a copy of IP or the rabbit in this case. But instead we have to link away a carrot instead, which is going to be pretty detrimental, going up into that rabbit. And then rabbit will set the trap from the deck. We now lose a spell and trap negate, which is going to be pretty impactful for us. We do set the copy of Azaroon. And doing it like this allows us to also have the IPSP lines. We can normal summon out the beaver, which can then summon out the angler here. We did make another misplay by not putting the bunny in the zone that the Totally Awesome is going to be on top of. But in this case here, we're going to have to go for a weird line where we're not going to be able to get our trap live until we've already used the IP effect. So it's kind of important to note that we have to go up into that. And we can't use the rabbit for the IP either. We have to have the SP pointing to a zone that it points to. So we have to essentially do the interactions as toad negates, and then IP into an SP, and then SP banishes, and then we bring back the toad, and then we have the red negate as well. I mean, red can negate at any time, but it does not matter because we're going to scoop it up here. We also had either an impulse or a imperm set. That doesn't really matter if it was the impulse. I think that we most likely would have kept that in the hand, but we ended up taking the game 1. And at this point, I don't know exactly what he's playing. At this point, I'm I don't really know. I think he's on water, but he has played a bunch of different decks. And that's the kind of thing that happens at locals where people are like, oh, well, you know what your opponent's playing. I mean, you go to a locals and you see everybody. We do feature matches all the time, so I end up getting to see other people's decks as well, which but the decks ultimately change. Everyone knows I'm pretty much playing Memento at all times. They can see my deck lists no matter what I do. And there's no real secret at locals. Obviously, this is round 1 of the locals, so we end up taking. He doesn't know what I'm playing. I don't know what he's playing. We could playing 2 completely different decks, but he has been playing the same deck for a little bit now. A lot of players do just choose to stick to one deck. We, on the other hand, kind of just hop around different things. I'm playing Spright today because I wanted to do something different. I want to get some videos for the channel as well, and I can push the same Spright videos. Or I guess from one day at locals, I can push the same Spright videos for 2 to 3 weeks sometimes, depending on the format. So it's kind of important to note that as well. But diving into game 2, we are going to finally see Mermail Atlantean end up going first, and then to start off with the normal summon of the Abethesis. This is going to send from the deck to the graveyard as cost, to then be able to search for a monster. They're going to send the Squadron here, whatever the card is. I don't exactly know all these cards, and search for the big ulti here. We do chain a Fool Rose to this, because I believe that the Goons does something from the deck, but they do opt to chain in a cross out there, and it's going to resolve, and they're going to be just banishing their own copy of Fool Rose. So we are going to see them summon out the level 3, and then we're going to activate the effect discarding the Dragoons, and we are thinking like, okay, well, do we want to hit that? We do opt to Ash this, and then Dragoon's going to activate the effect to allow us to search. And I mean, I don't exactly know what to hit in this deck. I still have, like, he's the only player who plays it at locals. I'm not exactly sure what cards I want to Ash and where, but you know, it's still a learning thing. We're going to go for the Maestro here, which can rip our hand. And then we're going to activate the effect of the quad, or whatever it's called, to send to the graveyard, summon itself out. Then we can activate the effect to search for the new one. I know this card's really good. It does something like a whole bunch. It tributes one and then summons, which I know this card you probably should Ash, but like it summons multiple from the deck, so understandably Ash targets there. We see it's 2 ultis being hit, and then we're going to go up into a level 4, one of the Dragoons being made, and then we end up going for a copy of the Bahamut Shark, which allows us to go up into the Totally Awesome. Then we've seen the Dragoon effect because it was attached for an effect, a water effect there. So I got sent to the graveyard as a water effect. They're going to search for the Moon and Glacia to rip a card from our hand, and I really do enjoy the fact that we can kind of play with these cards. Like, you know, the fact that we can detach from the Bahamut Shark to get the effect is a super sick interaction that I think that more cards kind of need to do. We go for the Moon Glacia, and then we end up ripping 2 cards. We do hit an Angler here. We can now summon out 2 Beavers from the deck. And our hand was pretty good, you know, if we're looking at it in a non, hyper stationed play. We had Swap Frog with an Angler, we had Ash, and we had, I believe, a Full Roast. So a very nice hand. I don't know what the last card was. I think it is a blue, but our hand was pretty nice. I can't complain. Honestly, that's one of the best hands that we can get. We go for the Coral, then it's going to summon back out. We then discard a card, and then we're going to go up into the new one, which will then smack down the old ulti, which is the expensive card. Then we're going to smack down the new one here. We're going to activate the effect Attaching, which can then summon 2 from the deck. Or it bounces the cards, my bad. And then we're going to search for the Maestro, because the Dragoon gets into the graveyard here. And yeah, so now we're kind of like experimenting with what we can kind of do here. I think there's another toad going to be made. We probably should scoop it up, but I want to learn more about this deck. Therefore, I kind of just let them play it through. We're going to go up into the new Link monster here, and this is another card that lets us summon a bunch of different bodies. And we summon back out 3 level 3s, I believe it is. Then we activate the effect, and that's going to allow us to search for the Trident spell. Then we link those away. Or we synchro those away for a Croco Dragon here. It's going to allow us to draw 2 more cards. And like our hand is very loaded. Like it's a very cool deck. Also, having Croco Dragon's ability to pop can be quite nice as well. People do forget about that quite a bit. But yeah, I'm not exactly sure where we're going to kind of go with this. We are going to be activating the effect of the thing to summon out 2 more here. Discarding a Prosperity. That's what I mean. Like, this kind of tells me about the deck that you wouldn't exactly know. We then go for another Bahamut Shark, which can then summon out another Totally Awesome here. And we essentially have now 2 negates on the field, which is going to be pretty nice. Without even needing to have a trap to bring it back into a zone and link 2 points to. In that beautiful QCR rarity, by the way. From the Rarity Collection 3. They're going to pass turn on this, and it is a pretty loaded turn, but we are going to go normal summon Beaver, activating the effect, and they do decide to Toad negate this, and they get to add back a card. Adding back, I believe that was a Dragoon. Then we're going to go Swap Frog Send, and then we activate the effect. That's going to allow us to then dump the Mirror Mage from the deck. Then we can activate the effect to search for the spell. I wonder what they're trying to save their negate for. We're going to see them banish to then dump. That's going to let them draw 1 card, and then Dragoon's going to be activating the effect, allowing them to add one of the squads. This is like the old version of the squad. I'm not exactly sure what it does. All I know is these cards add a lot to the hand. Droll seems really good against them. But we're going to go for a Typhon here. And then Typhon can attack over the Toad. And then we can bounce the Croco Dragon to the hand. But we do get to add back off Toad here. Like at this point, I'm just seeing what I can do, like what the interactions are. Like if they have anything that activates or nothing like that. Like we're not winning this match at all. Or we're not winning this duel, I should say. We're going to activate the effect of the Typhon here. Try to bounce the Croco Dragon back to the hand. And yeah, at this point, we're just going to set one, I believe, and pass. Yeah, we just have an Imperm set. So yeah, we're going to do nothing. We set 2 cards here and just pass turn. And that's just going to kind of be it. Like, you know, we're just seeing what they kind of have, what they kind of do. And then go for the effect here of the Bahamut Shark. We do chain the Impulse here. Now, I don't even know if they do play another Toad. Maybe you do. They do have a crossout in the hand. They chain the crossout, and we just admit defeat there. Like, yeah, we're not winning this. I mean, honestly, I probably should have just seen what they would have summoned there. I'm assuming it is going to be totally awesome, and they're just going to link it away, because why not just have a body on the field just because you can? But they ended up taking up game 2 here. There was nothing we were going to do. Our hand was quite nice, but not nice enough, unfortunately. You know, especially when you're Moon and Glacier ripping, and you do get hit with... like Full Roasting getting cross-outed is kind of crazy, especially against a deck like this. Like this deck is all gas. That like if you don't have any way to kind of like get multiple things going for you, you're going to be very wiped out of the water or extremely quickly. No pun intended there. But now moving on into game number 3, we are going to have the advantage of being able to go first. But unfortunately, there's these 2 amazing cards called Mulch Army, Full Roast, and Prelia. And if you have not read Prelia yet, this card just shits on Spright. It's essentially, if you have this card in your hand, you're drawing your entire deck against Spright. So, it's pretty good. Now, diving on in, we are going to be seeing us going first, obviously. Now, hopefully we don't see any of the Mulch Armies being dropped. We can play around Full Roast by being able to end on some of your red and your carrots and stuff like that, or giving them only 1 draw off of the Totally Awesome and stuff like that, sometimes 2 with the Gigantic. But otherwise, it's going to be quite hard here, you know, especially with how powerful these cards really are, and multiple hand traps. You know, you don't just see one of them being dropped. We're going to normal summon with the Swap Frog here, activating the effect, sending the Mirror Mage to the graveyard, and that's going to activate its effects, letting us search for a copy of the spell here. And we do have Ash in the hand as well, it looks like. We then activate the effect to summon out the Mirror Mage, and they do decide to chain a copy of the Prelia here. Now, they didn't do that in the draw phase, just as a mistake. Normally you do it in the draw phase here. He was tired. He said it's like the first round of our locals here. Definitely a rough card. You know, he thought it was the copy of Full Roast, which it does look kind of the same, which is very unfortunate. You have to be careful on which ones you have, but it's still really good against us. You know, dropping it on before the normal summon is just removing 1 draw, but at the same time, it also allows you to, like, if maybe I don't have anything else, you know, so just dropping it in the draw phase to obviously avoid talent, because talent is up being played a little bit more right now, can be a problem. We do summon with the copy of Jet here, which is going to allow him to draw 1 card, and then we're going to activate the effect of search, searching us for a copy of, it should be Starter in this case, but we opt to choose the Trap just so we can suck up the card here. You know, they do a lot, so that's kind of the issue here with choosing for the starter, is that they have a lot of gas. So being able to use the trap card to essentially attach into the Toad is pretty important. But we do summon out the Swap Frog here, trying to just make sure that we have enough bodies on the field, and they do opt to activate a Pot of Prosperity. We're going to choose to banish 3 cards here, which leads me to believe that their hand is pretty decent. Therefore, I don't want to get it with the Totally Awesome. They're thinking about more cards here, but that's kind of the importance of Prosperity. Now, Prosperity is, of course, going to be at 1 now due to the recent ban list. I guess I should say the latest ban list. And they're thinking about it, but I think that they end up choosing only 3 at some point here. Yeah, so we're going to opt to just 2-3 here. It is cost, so it does not really matter. We do let it resolve, and they see a level 3, the Dragoons, and an Ash Blossom here. Now, we could have took the Prosperity if we wanted to, which would have allowed us to then activate it during our turn. We get a search. We are in a little bit of a grind game. I believe I have 2 more. I have a blue at least in the hand. Therefore, I didn't want to negate it, as well as I want to be able to use my trap card to be able to suck up or take one of those cards and end up discarding the graveyard. Like when I'm playing against this water deck, so far what I have realized is they activate the effect sending for costs, and then we can actually like take the card in the graveyard before it gets to activate to kind of make sure it doesn't activate or just doesn't negate it essentially here. So on the normal summon, they're going to activate the effect sending a water monster from the deck or from their hand, and we do chain the trap to essentially attach, and in response we chain Imperm on the Abyss Spike or whatever it's called. So it's going to negate their entire chain at this point, being able to attach it to the Totally Awesome, leaving us in the negate as well, which is kind of cool. They do have the Ash Blossom in the hand, so it's going to be kind of hard for us to kind of continue playing. But we do beat over the Swap Frog here, sending it to the graveyard, and then just pass turn on this. We do offer them to cut, and we are reading about the Totally Awesome here. I asked the question, if I had attached that Dragoons for cost, is it going to activate the effect? And it does activate the effect, but it does not activate the effect if we do tribute the Totally Awesome, because we're not sending it to the graveyard, we're sending the Totally Awesome to the graveyard, which is going to then just send the material underneath it to the graveyard due to mechanics, which is pretty cool. So here we activate the effect of Toad, summoning out the Swap Frog, and we summon out the Carrot as well as the blue, activating the blue effect here, allowing us to search, and we search for the copy of Jet. So we had 2 other sprites in the hand. We were not going to be continuing our extending into that Pirellia there. We're going to link away for a Spring, and then send the Angler to the graveyard, and they're going to opt to Ash that there. We do chain the Totally Awesome, negating it by sending the copy of Swap Frog to the graveyard. This way we can keep the negate on the field for their opponent's turn, as well as just having a 22 body here. We are going to summon up the double Weavers by sending that Angler here. At this point, we kind of have to check if they have Nibiru in the hand. And that's going to be a kind of important factor here. We do go up into the Gigantic in this monster zone here. Okay. We activate the effect, and that's going to resolve. So now we don't have to worry about Nibiru anymore, and we are essentially just safe, and the game should be won. We're now going to go up into a red. And we decided to do some more math here. Okay. We have a 32 plus 22, and we have a Beaver. We kind of want to go up to something else. We have Omnisweeper. And we have the Jet in the hand. So we can go for like Carrot and Beaver up into the Omnisweeper here, which is what we're going to opt to do. Then we can activate the effect detaching. Or we're going to summon with the Jet first, activate the effect, and then they're going to be just admitting defeat there. So yeah, we have winning the game. We're going to be activating the effect of the Omnisweeper, making it so that we disbanish their card. Then we have enough attack for game. And we do see Spright end up taking the win in the game 3 there with Totally Awesome. This card is absolutely crazy. Totally Awesome winning game 2 for the opponent, and then Totally Awesome winning game 3 for us. Just feels absolutely amazing. Hope you guys enjoyed watching the video. Don't forget to like, comment, share some more content like this. Don't forget to stay safe. Peace.